Oh, here's a video on exporting maps using Hair Strand Designer version 1.266. This is the latest version that I released just today, and I've added a blur effect. So when you've set all your strands up and you've generated with each of these enabled, so everything that's enabled will get generated when you click on generate here. So I'm just doing this in a fairly simple format, just to show you what you get. So you got AO map, you got a flow map, depth map, ID map, color map, mask map, normal map. You can choose whether to have the IDs in set mode or strand mode. So strand mode just gives every strand a random color, and set mode colors each set. Anyway, so once you've got that, you want to click the export maps, but don't try to save to the same folder as the software, because what happens is it moves itself to appdata for some reason, and that's just because of the way that the software that I used to make this deals with files in a local folder. So I'm going to save to like desktop. So desktop, I've got a temp folder where I normally keep things. I'll just use this new folder here actually, and then I'm just going to save like each map. You can't really change anything here, so you just save as whatever. It adds PNG to itself, so you don't have to give it a name like PNG or Targa or anything like that. Just everything's PNG. So RGB mask, I'll just call this 1. So each time you save one map, it will ask for the next one. So you just give everything the same name. Right, so that's everything saved, and then I would go ahead and open everything up in Photoshop. When you click generate, it saves all the settings in a quick save file. So if you've accidentally closed the software or it's crashed or something, you can go back and hit F12 and everything comes back. Hit F11, press F11 and everything will come back. So let me just got Photoshop running up here. In the second monitor. Right, let's drag that back over. Right, so then you're going to open up your maps from your other folder that you've created. So make this new folder, and I like to just open one first, then go to the folder, new folder, and then open, bring the other maps in, just drag them in and over, and then just hit enter. And that's all your maps in place, ready to process. A little process I like to do to smoothen things out, particularly the normal map, is to go to your preferences and go to performance, and make sure you've got your use graphics processor enabled. I've basically got these two checked. Advanced, okay. And what that does is that allows you to use the filter called Stylize Oil Paint. I usually set everything to 2 or 3 here. And when you click that, all it does is it cleans up. So if I undo and redo here, so undo, you see it's kind of pixely, and then I redo, you see it gets this nice little kind of smoothing in place. You can reapply that a couple of times until you're happy. Okay, so for the number of times you've done it with one, you're best to do it with the other ones. So Control Alt F will reprocess that same filter. So I'll just do it twice. Right, so do that for each, and eventually that should get all your maps processed. The ambient occlusion map, you might want to process that differently. Like you could do a little bit of blur on it, so Gaussian blur, and maybe just 2 pixels worth. And I like to copy the layer set it to multiply, just so that it gets a little bit darker, and then I'd merge that down. So that's now the new one, and that's basically how I'd process everything. So I can go ahead and do each map that way. There is a blur function that I've added in, but it's not great. So here's an issue happened when I've came back to the software. I've got an internal arrow ID map, canvas, blah blah blah. Restart the application. Don't try to re-export. Now here you could, I guess, press F11 and you get everything back, apart from the maps are not processed, so you'd have to generate again. But it's brought back all the settings at least. If that doesn't work, just exit and set everything up again, because what you shouldn't have done there is click generate, because it saved the error as well. That's the bad side of quick save, so just be wary of that. It's a little bug that I can't really iron out because of the way the system works. So that's a little unfortunate, but I'll just show you again what to do once you've set everything up the way you want it. Enable your maps, click generate, which effectively quick saves it as well. Okay, so it's just about generated. It's doing 164 strands. It'd take a little bit longer, right? So that's everything generated. Export your maps. Export them to a different folder from the software. So I'm going to call everything 2 this time. So it saves each one by one. Okay. I can't get it to batch export this way. That would be nice, but it's just another limitation of the software I'm using. I'm actually using Game Maker Studio 2 to make this, because all I know at the minute. Right, so everything's saved. At this point you could just exit out, and then I would bring all the maps in, and if you go back to this and you've got everything grayed out and the error showing up, then come back into this and just press F11. Don't try and generate again. Okay, so you press F11 and then generate, but don't do it if you've got the error. If you've got the error, close the application, come back into it, right, and then press F11 to get the settings back, then generate, because it doesn't save the actual generated maps. It only saves all the settings, but in theory this is everything back. So if I was to save these maps now, so I'll do 3, you'd expect set 2 and 3 to be the same. So it's a little bit of a workaround from a bug that I can't fix. I don't think I ever will be able to fix it. It's something to do with the saving system. And I say I'm using built-in functions from Game Maker. I'm not really doing anything like C++ or low level. Okay, I think that's it done. So if I now look at the desktop, new folder, so if I look at 2 and 3, so switch between these, so that's 2, that's 3. You can see they look a bit different, right? And that's probably because the seed value has been different when it's generated. So if that's the case, you want to make sure you turn the randomization off, because when you generate, so I'll do this one more time. So if I switch everything on, right, but this time, once you've generated everything, so I switch that on, so generate things like this, right, but I don't want to generate just yet. I want to switch this randomization off, and I'm thinking of making this off by default. Can you see it's got this seed number here? So generate, right, so that's saved the state of everything. And then I can go into each map and add some of this blur. Right, just by clicking a few times it blurs things out a bit. So that's the post-process effect. It doesn't work too well normal map, that's why I say to use the oil paint filter, because it does quite, a good job of it, and I'd love to know that algorithm. Right, so I'll blur these out a little bit. Right, so I don't want to generate again because that will clear the blurring, and also it means it'll take a while to generate, but I've already got everything generated. I've added some blurring. Now I can export, and I'll call these 4. Okay, and then I'll close the application. So you see this really kind of waviness here. So, and 24518509666, right? So if I export, if I close it out and go back, press F11 and then generate. So you see this randomization is now off, but this number's different. So it's going to have generated something different. So there's an issue with it loading up and not doing the same seed value, so you'd have to take a note of that until I've got the save projects thing working. Then it's not generating exactly the same thing. So you could press F1 and put in a seed value, and I forget what it was now, but yeah, I definitely need to work on this little bug of it not saving the random seed. So I'm going to try one more thing. I'm going to switch this off and do a generate as it is, and then I'm going to assume that it's saved this right number, or let's see, it was 4 something. Yeah, it's not brought back the random seed, so I'm going to try random on, generate. It's give us a whole new number. I'm going to switch this off and press F12, right? And that saved everything like that. So I'll click generate now. And then F11, yeah, it's still not bringing back the seed number, so it's unfortunate. So the seed number, by the looks of it, needs to be recorded a different way. Okay, so it doesn't save everything. So if I was to generate with that, it's going to be different. Alright. Okay, so that's another bug that I need to fix. But anyway, if you're saving your maps, you need to make sure that they're enabled, that you generate. Maybe take a note of the seed value, just in case, take a note of it either in a file or something. So let's see, so I've generated these maps, and then I could go ahead and make a notepad file. This is a little bit cumbersome, but I'll work on that. I should be able to record, I think once I get around to the saving the actual project files, it'll be better. So generated these maps. I can export the maps now. Sometimes you need to click twice, that's another thing. So 5. Alright, so in theory that's saved everything. When I click generate, it's quick saved all the settings, but the seed number is going to be off likely. Okay, so I'm just going to exit that, open it up again, I just want to make sure that set 5 and 6 are the same. So if I press F11, so it's not brought back the seed number, so I'm going to press F1 now and put in the seed value that I took a note of here. So I'll just copy this and paste it here. So I'll make this much more streamlined in a future version, but you see already the strands changed, that switched off, so I'll generate now. I'm going to export these maps, just going to compare 5 and 6, so I'll call these 6. Oops, right, I forgot to call that 6 for the normal, that's okay. Right, so apart from the issue with the seed value not getting saved, everything else saves fine, colours and everything. Let me just check, I'm just going to check that these are correct, otherwise I'll eat my hat. So we got 5, and then I'm pressing right, there we go, so 5 and 6 are exactly the same. So that's actually a new issue because I thought I had that sorted. So there's 5, there's 6, 5, 6, 5, 6. So it's done everything right that way. So unfortunately, for the time being, if you're using generate and you save out your maps and you want to go back in to make a tweak or something, just make sure you take a note of the seed value until I've got the project files saving, which is going to be a little while because I want to get more maps in and things. This is still in a fairly beta stage. So it's still quite young, it's only been out a month and there's a lot more I want to add. So a couple of people having the bugs with it not being able to save the files, so I'm going to just cover that real quick, show you what happens. Now sometimes it will save to the same folder, sometimes it won't, but I'll just do one generate. That'll just be the color map and RGB map here, so I'll just do export, and if I go to the same folder as the software and save again, like you see it's not there, right? So you see the files aren't here, but if you type in %appdata and you go up one level to local, then look for the latest one that you've just been using, which is this one, you'll see your textures are actually here. So it doesn't like saving to the same folder. That's part of the bug that kind of comes with using Game Maker. It tries to sandbox things. If it knows it's in the same folder, it thinks it's saving it locally, like a kind of internalized, you know, saving system. So you can see both these files are here. So you'll likely find all your textures in this folder if you've not been able to see them. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching the video. I hope this irons out a few of the cracks that are in the software. Everything else seems to be working fine, but that seems to be the recurring issue. And I hope you watched this video right to the end. If you didn't, then you've probably missed this little thing. Maybe I'll cover it in a new one. I'll try and cover it in each video, but that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Bye.